Good to have you on Damon and Ratto. Somebody on Xfinity Mobile text line says, 415 says, D'Angelo, the Warriors killer, getting his vengeance on them last night. He even fouls out. He even fouled out early in overtime, and the Warriors still couldn't get over a hump, and they didn't even really need to get over a hump. They were up late in that game by 11 points, and they just invited the Minnesota Timberwolves right back into that basketball game with their sloppy play down the stretch. They were turning the ball all over during the fourth quarter and in overtime. I don't think Steph Curry even bothered scoring in overtime. Anthony Edwards officially got feisty in overtime. 17 turnovers. 17 turnovers are 17 shots you're not taking. 17 turnovers are that's 15 more points even on a bad night for the Warriors. Last night, we called it, Ray. Well, at least I called it. I said, it's simple. This is a poor perimeter defending Minnesota team. You hit your threes, you win a basketball game. Well, they were only 31% from downtown last night. They had one job, hit your threes. Clay had a poor shooting night. He hit only 3 shots all night, and I'm not going to put it on just one guy. But if Clay plays to his normal season standards, they win that game last night. But that didn't happen, and they lost that game last night. They have burned way too much of their margin of error on the road.
And yet, almost everybody in the West has done that. There's only one team in the West with a winning record away from home, and normally they're about 5. So the thing that strikes me more than anything else about the Warriors is that they're just like about 9 other teams, and they never used to be that. Whether they were awful in those 2 years, they weren't like anybody else because they didn't really have any NBA players on the roster, or when they were winning, or going deep in the playoffs.
Such overlords, you couldn't even compare them to other NBA teams.
Now they're one of about 20 teams in this league. There's about 6 that are tanking, 4 that are excellent, and then everybody else. And the Warriors are everybody else.
They're in control of the game, and then they start giving away possessions. They used to excel as a franchise. They used to excel with like under 6 minutes to play in a tight game. Nope, not anymore. Like under 6 to play in a tight game, there is a chance that they will be as sloppy or even more sloppy than they have been up to that point in those minutes. No matter the situation, 4 minutes to go, 3 possession game. Nope, they can be absolutely as awful in that moment. 2 minutes to play, up 2, really time to squeeze the orange. Nope, no, not particularly. No, there is just as much of a chance as Jordan Poole dribbling one off his own ankle in this incredibly valuable moment and possession as there was in the first 2 minutes of the basketball game. Final possession of the game. Final possession of the game. Here it is. You need one shot to win a game. That is a possession that you're going to ultra value, right? Nope. No, not really. Not really. That possession could be kicked away, and they could be stepping on their own cranks just as much in that instance as any other instance. And I guess what's really disappointing about that, Ray, is in those instances, there's no young man to blame. This is not a 2-timeline problem. This is not Wiseman, Moody, Kuminga. This is not the big Ragu in his first season with the Warriors. I like him, too. He's become a really good player. This is not the other guys screwing it up. This is Curry. This is Clay. This is Draymond. This is Poole. This is Wiggins. You guys got to be the one who stops sucking. I don't know. There's no other way to say it. Do you want to go anywhere this year? All right. Hall of Famers, assemble, form Voltron, whatever you got to do. It's the most important players, not the least important, not the least played, that are letting this team down right now.
Well, last night it certainly was, because not very many non-veterans got many minutes. When you look at it, Curry plays 42 minutes, which must have made Steve Kerr throw up. He had to play Thompson for 40. played Draymond for 39. I mean, they clearly went all in to try to win this one. And in the fourth quarter, they get up 14 early on, and then after that, they get boat raced.
What's crazy is we're going to look back on this year, and the benefit of looking back, the power of hindsight always being 2020. You're going to, as it was happening, there was a reason why none of these young guys could go out there and get there just trying to figure out their career minutes. There was no room to play them in a season that when we get to the end of it, the chances of looking back at it and going, oh my God, there were so many nights of developmental minutes, but you didn't use them. So you don't know much more about these players now than you did at the beginning of the year. And that's when the frustration of this season is really going to kick into overdrive, because there were a million nights of built-in, kicked it away, pissed it away basketball where James Wiseman could or could not have played 25 minutes. It really didn't matter either way. And you didn't play him. And that's bad. I mean, it's getting to the point where you're not good enough to be this particularly picky about, well, was every single defensive possession the most perfect defensive possession that I've ever seen out of a young player in this league? If the answer is no, we got to bench him for the next 4 games. They're being stubborn for reasons that may not bear the fruit they hope their stubborn fruit would bear.
Well, here's their problem, though. Early on in the year, they weren't getting valuable minutes at all from any of the young guys. And they got off to a rocky start. And so they're trying to basically figure out a rhythm where they can go, okay, we're going to make our run now, and we're going to, be safely clear of the playoff argument. And I'm not a big fan of just giving guys minutes for development in a year in which you think you're a playoff contender. You got to win the night's game. So I don't think they're going to look back at this season and say, gee, we could have spent more time developing them. Because when you say we want to develop the young guys, what you're also saying is the result doesn't matter. And the fact is, this year, the result does matter.
Well,
and they're going to end
up... If they're
up
shooting towards results do matter, they're missing.
Well, yes. But so that's the real problem. It's not that they miss chances to develop. They miss chances to win actual games. And that's the problem. It's, I don't look this as a lost season for anybody who should have been given minutes that hadn't earned them. The problem is they're not a consistent team top to bottom. And on a night like last night where they have it in hand and then they just drop it, those are frustrating nights, not because they missed a development opportunity, but because they missed an opportunity to move into fourth. And fourth kind of matters.
Look, they got a problem that is them playing to the stereotype of jump shooting teams. That's really what they are now. They're a jump shooting team. Anytime you are the team in basketball who is leading the league in 3-point attempts, you're doing it wrong. I just don't know what any more to say. You're doing it wrong. If you have the number 1 next to your team's name in terms of attempted 3-pointers, you're lazy. You're being lazy offensively. And that's a big part of it. This team is settling for the easy look more than finding the perfect look. They used to attack that perfect look, and they still have an assist total that makes you say, well, they do want to find it. Their assist total is still very nice. Way too many threes. Way too many threes.
And yet last night, they were...
It wasn't like a normal number, actually.
It was actually
35.
below normal.
Yeah.
It was 35. They were trying to penetrate and create things because, as you said earlier, Minnesota doesn't defend very well on the perimeter. So they were trying to take advantage of that. And, they didn't shoot well from 3, but they also didn't shoot great from inside the arc either. So this was just a night where they were not shooting well enough to hide the fact that they weren't defending well enough. That's how you lose.
There's a fair point brought up here from the 925 on the Xfinity mobile text line that says, you guys were tripping last year. And what happened? It's freaking amazing they won an NBA championship last year. There's still no doubt about that. I'm surprised. They're surprised. And we're all surprised. the amount of surprise of winning last year's NBA championship, if it were to be applied to this year, it would make last year's feel like it was scheduled from day one. There is no indication that the Golden State Warriors are going to be a team that wins a championship in the NBA this year. If the Warriors honestly, for real, are going to win another NBA championship this year, the regular season should just be canceled for them, or only just seen as a mere formality. They should be given a ceremonial 1 seed in perpetuity from here on out, because they just have the ability to reach a month in a basketball year and reveal themselves as the greatest basketball team ever, and they are going out of their way to not show it until the moment of reveal. I mean, I don't know. They can't be. The team that I am watching right now cannot be an NBA champion. I was watching last year, and I don't think at any point in time I definitively said they cannot be an NBA champion. I'm sure we did phrase it as we would be stunned if they were. But the option of cannot, to me, the option of cannot be NBA champion is on the table this year.
But every year they've been good. And I mean, made a deep playoff run, which is those are the only choices you've had in the Curry years. They got off to great starts. I mean, great starts. Last year they started off 18-2. So there was never a question about whether they were a playoff team or not. The question was, how good can they be? This year, they didn't get off to a great start. They haven't built any momentum. And yet they are in this huge standings morass with everybody from the Clippers to the Lakers in 13th. So you don't know what they are. And this is the first time that I don't think anybody has known who they are, including themselves. And that's when you expect at some point for them to go, you know what, we got to make a run now. But maybe that's not in them. Maybe this is who they are, and either they're half a step slower as veterans, because I don't think they're dumber, and maybe the young guys have not picked up the things that you need to play with this team. It does seem like it's a disjointed operation because you can't tell from night to night who they are and what they are. And I think that's the takeaway. Every year that they've been good, they started off great. They have not started off great this year. They've been mediocre from the get, and they are mediocre today.
Someone from the 510 says, look, Boston shoots just one less three than the Warriors per game. Now, I don't have that in front of me, but let's assume I'm not being lied to right there, and that's a fact. Boston can get away with that because of the other things Boston has done. And through 52 games, Boston has the best record in the NBA, the best road record in the NBA, the best record versus teams 500 or better in the NBA, the best point differential in the NBA by a lot, the best net rating in the NBA, the third best offense in the NBA, and the fourth best defense in the NBA. The fork in the road between the Celtics and the Warriors since meeting in the NBA Finals is extreme. So Boston can, I guess, have the luxury of maybe settling for a voluminous amount of three-point shots when they're getting everything else done on a basketball court. If you are leading the league in taking threes and doing nothing else on a basketball court, that's when you get in trouble. That's why the Warriors are in trouble and haven't been north of 3 games above 500 all freaking year.